I just decided on the way over here, I can do a hill workout today. Had a bit of a workout day lined up for yesterday. Stuff came up, had to push it back till today. Not feeling amazing at the moment. Did a Costco run earlier, ate a bunch of those samples in all the aisles. Stomach not feeling amazing. I did bring along a Maurten Gel 160 with me today. Pretty neutral flavor, got that hydrogel technology. See how that interacts with my little upset tummy today. Got it. You too. Craft Nordlite Ultra Pro on foot. Perhaps not the best shoe for a pure super fast speed workout. I had the S-Lab Pulsar 4 from Salomon in mind when I was thinking more along the lines of a flatter fartlek type of workout. This one's a little heavier, a little cushier than what I would typically go for a speed workout, but being that I'm actually gonna do a little bit of hills today, I'll talk about why it could be a good pick for that. Not going for long hills today, kind of more of a short riser here. Haven't done it in a while. I think I'll check, probably around 3 minutes or so at a high effort, we'll see. I'll probably just go through a few reps, maybe talk about the Nordlite Ultra Pro here on my recovery descents, and then, whatever else comes to mind. I'll also do some quick checks on Stryd Power along the way. Here we go. As usual, pushed a little too hard very early in the first rep. Probably want to get into threshold a little more gradually. Okay, so my memory's not too bad. About 305 up the hill. I think about 332 watts average on the Stryd Pod here. I'm starting to pay a little bit more attention to the Stryd numbers because Stryd Pod 5.0 is on the way for testing, so definitely want to see if I can tease out the differences between that updated model, see if I see better power output, more responsiveness, especially on kind of undulating climbs like that. The power drops off when you hit those little flat spots, even if it's only a little bit, and then it kicks up pretty quickly when you hit some of those rises. There is still a bit of lag in it, and the new Stryd Pod is supposedly gonna improve that lag, so you see a more accurate power right away. As far as heart rate, I did see couple touches of 180 there near the top. Low end of my threshold zone. I think the marathon average was around 174 to 178, something along, I don't remember. Put it up there. But that's gonna be slightly below my threshold, of course, for a full marathon. Heart rate here, if I'm getting to the threshold zone, should be a touch higher than that and beyond. Of course, fitness level is gonna dictate where you're at. It's probably relatively higher since I haven't been doing this kind of stuff recently. So I'll tuck the camera away on this rep, see if I get a little more power using both arms. Arm swing there. Usually the second rep is always a little stronger than the first. 343 watts on that rep. A little bit of a boost, over 10 watts. Also heart rate hitting around 183, which seems a little high, indicating again I'm not up to speed with these kind of hill thresh out workouts. In terms of the pure heart rate with my zones, that number is actually okay, but the legs just don't feel like they're matching up with that number. Feels like I'm struggling a little bit more, not as much power as I would have at that heart rate if I were, more along the ways into training. Nordlite Ultra Pros feel great too so far, both up and down. I think I'll talk about that a little bit more on the way down after my next rep, but it's very cushioned, very flexible. Check out my full review on this one I did run Mammoth 50K in this shoe, and it was just perfect for that. It's practically a super shoe without a plate. If that's what you're looking for, you don't like that stiffer, firmer feel. Again, I'm going to talk about that after my next rep, why it's great, especially running uphill here. But this could be the shoe, an unplated option in the super shoe realm. I think I'm going to dial back this third rep a bit. I want to finish maybe 4, 5, 6. Make sure I'm strong for those. So I don't want to burn out too early here. That rep was a little bit more smooth, in control, slightly lower power. Heart rate is still creeping up again due to my fitness level, but I intentionally went a little easier at the base of the hill, and that'll make the average power go down. Typically you'll blast off the line and have a higher power spike right at the start of the rep, and that'll boost up the average. So if you start out more gradually, you might see a lower average lap power, but it's better off to be smooth throughout the entire rep. If I look at the graph in Stryd Power Center, I'm pretty sure I'll see a more steady power line, although it is difficult because this one undulates up and down, so it just naturally, the power goes up and down with the grade. So why is the Nordlite Ultra Pro a great pick for an uphill workout specifically, and maybe even a trail running workout in general? For me, it comes down to flexibility and width at the forefoot. I haven't run these in a little while. I'm not sure even if I ran in them since Mammoth when I put them back at the house. But it was pretty striking that the heel seemed a little bit higher than I remembered. It seemed like more of a drop. It's listed at 6mm. I measured 40 at the heel. So 6mm is not a lot, but it just seems like the heel is up a little bit higher. You have a kind of stable, that entire platform under the heel outlined by the outsole rubber just feels, you could feel that base on the ground. And you could also feel that entire outline of the forefoot, that outline on the ground, especially as you're going uphill. It's just very solid and stable. And getting back to flexibility, there's no outsole coverage in the middle, no plate, so you saw me twisting that shoe. It's just very flexible when you're running uphill. Of course, the angle of the ground is steeper below your heel, and it does help, for one, to have a little bit more under the heel, and the flexibility also aids in, I think, getting you up the hill faster. A lot of times in stiffer shoes, especially with a plate, your heel wants to go up, but the shoe may be so stiff that it's fighting against you to keep the heel down. That's the scenario I pretty much come across whenever I feel tension in my calf muscles, soleus, Achilles complex. A stiffness of a shoe, even in flats, can really, it fights against where your heel wants to go. So especially going up the hill back there, you're more or less up on your forefoot anyway. You're putting the majority of the power into the forefoot. You're leaning into the hill. So you don't want the heel stiffness of the shoe, or rather stiffness in the middle of the shoe, pulling your heel down, essentially fighting against the direction you're trying to go. Time for another rep here. I'll get back to this. Actually, I need to take this Maurten Gel before the next rep. Maurten Gel 160, 40 grams here compared to their standard 30. I believe it's the exact same formulation. Yeah, it's got that same kind of thick hydrogel formulation there. My stomach's feeling a little better, by the way, so it's not a big problem here. So I've been taking a lot of SIS gels recently, and aside from the flavor and all that, I just think 40 grams is better than 30. It's just a lot easier to hit the numbers with 40. It does sneak up on you if you're only doing 30. You gotta do, say, 3 gels an hour to get to 90, aside from fluids and all that. But when you're having the same formulation, 10 extra grams here and there, you're talking a couple gels an hour. That puts you at 80. You can go a little lighter on your fluids in terms of concentration and easily hit 90 or 100. So I just think it's a better way to go, and this tastes just the same, just as great as the regular Maurtens. So I say why not? More is better when it comes to fueling. We've all been seeing that recently. Quick turnaround for my last rep here. Running short on time. Definitely faded a bit here. And this last one, pushed a little bit at the top. Try to keep the wattage up, being it's the last one. Coming back to the Nordlite Ultra Pro, the forefoot width is excellent in this shoe. I've definitely had problems with Craft uppers in the past. That's all changed now. This one, the Explorer Pro, Nordlite Ultra 2, this is the Nordlite Ultra Pro. Hope I didn't mix that up earlier. You know what shoe I'm wearing though. Forefoot width is excellent, and when you're running uphill, that's when you're putting the most pressure into your forefoot. That's when your forefoot wants to expand the most, the more power you put into the ground. If a shoe is just too tight, too squeezy in the forefoot, or even if you just lace your shoes too tight, those are scenarios where I can feel my forefoot getting numb. And one of the reasons why I prefer to have a spacious toe box, especially or more so across the ball of the foot, not necessarily always up at the front of the toes. Don't want it pointy, of course, but it's really that base of the toes by the forefoot. So running up these hill reps behind me right here, I just felt full power. My foot is able to spread and really learn how to stabilize itself and maximize getting that full power into the ground underneath you. Sometimes more precise fitting shoes can be nice if you're dancing or tiptoeing around in technical or rocky terrain. That's a totally different scenario. But I still say you want to have enough width to be comfortable in that scenario too. But for something like this, pure power workout, hills, you just don't want to be restricted in that way. You don't want to feel like something's holding your foot back from expanding and pressing into the ground. So that's why I just love these. And again, I think that may also have something to do with it. I think it's more the flexibility with me having no Achilles pulling, no tightness, nothing, no feeling of my soleus being stretched in any way. It just feels super comfortable running fast in this shoe. This is definitely going to be in my rotation for really trail workout runs. And also why it's a great pick for, I say 50K range, 26K at Mammoth, races of that nature where perhaps you don't need a plate, carbon fiber plates. You may not like it, but sometimes they help with protection too. But for shorter distances, you can generally get away with a little bit of lack of protection. I mean, it's enough here, 40, 34, but the foam is soft. And again, no outsole under the middle of the foot and flexible. So you don't have any kind of plate situation in there. Could get banged up over long rocky miles, but I think you might look for another option if that was the terrain. But again, all depends on your preference. Thank you for tuning in once again. This one was completely impromptu, unplanned, just decided to talk about some stuff out here. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you did and you do like to watch this type of content compared to maybe straight reviews, stuff like that. Check out Maurten at thefeed.com. Use my affiliate link for 10% off every order. That 10% will not be applicable during the Black Friday holiday period though. I think that's because they're even doing bigger discounts across the board. So you will save even more money anyway. So don't worry about it. Just pick up the link after the holiday period. Help support humble running. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I'm actually a little bit late here. Have to cruise back more directly on the road here. I'm running 6:39 pace here pretty easily. It's a runnable shoe for sure.